wanted to welcome everybody to episode 3 of Distilling Greatness. We are here at beautiful Short Mountain Distillery in Woodbury, Tennessee. Today we've got only one guest, but it's a great guest, Mr. Billy Kaufman. Billy, you doing okay?
Doing great. Thank you for having me at my distillery.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. No, but really do appreciate your time.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yes. Beautiful place. We're having a good time. Unfortunately, my partner in crime, Jeff Arnett, is off doing, he's got a couple of charity things that he's doing. So we'll hear about that in a couple of weeks. So he wasn't able to join us. So it's going to be me and you chatting today, man.
Awesome.
So
it's always fun.
Talk a lot about you and a little about the guild. How about that?
Yeah, let's talk about whatever you want. I'm here to serve.
That sounds good. Well, Billy and I, just a quick little background. We get to know each other back in 2013, I guess, is when it all started. And
wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little while. So I'll take it from there, if you will. I mentioned 2013. If you'll tell us a little bit about pre-2013, how you got into it and what made you do it and what brought you here, because you're from California, right?
Originally, I moved here over 20 years ago, but I was born in California.
Fantastic. Well, tell me how you got in this crazy business.
Oh, wow. So, I moved here in 2000, I think, and was mainly interested in agriculture. I found this beautiful farm and purchased this farm with the intention of using it for agricultural purposes. I was interested in farm tourism and that kind of thing. Was going to do a community-supported agriculture project here. I did do that. And one of the things that caught my interest, I can't really remember what year it was, but Tennessee changed their laws about even allowing distilling outside of, around Jack Daniels with those counties. And when that law changed, it kind of opened up the opportunity to have a legal distillery. And when I was doing my agricultural projects here, I was meeting a lot of local farmers, small farmers, small farm owners doing projects, and everyone would kind of pool together, share equipment. So I was meeting all these old moonshiners, and for the first time coming from the West Coast, it was very exciting to me, even seeing that it was something real that people were really still doing. And I always tell this story that, I would buy this moonshine from my friends and repackage it in jars and take it to an auction, and it would sell for $100 a jar, to the right crowd. And, in a charity auction. But still, it sort of got my brain working. This was before Old Smoky and Sugarlands and all the Gatlinburg stuff. It was really a new thing, and I was thinking about actually even making moonshine here illegally in my own springs, and I was being pushed in that direction by my friends, and some of my friends who were more working with the public were saying, like, no, you're way too known to do anything like that. Everyone knows this farm now. People come here. You can't do that. You're going to get arrested. And so I was like, well, I already shook on it. I said, I would do it. And then when the law changed, I saw this path to creating a legal distillery. And so I had a friend kind of show me how to change a law using a referendum to put something on a ballot and change a law. And that's where I started seeing that you could really mold laws legally to suit a noble cause.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that's interesting. It seems like talking to different distilleries and even some of our own experiences has been that, there's opportunities, especially when it comes to creating jobs or agritourism, things like that, where, you're going to get that legislative attention, if you will. And
yeah.
And when you said it best, when the community gets behind you, it's huge. So that's great that you ended up, finding that support. How did you choose Woodbury? Was it because of the agritourism possibility and the farm itself? Is that it, or?
I have some roots in this area. My great-grandfather started Samsonite Corporation.
Oh, fantastic.
And he had a huge factory in Murfreesboro. My grandfather worked in this area. And I already had friends with like hobby farms here.
Okay.
And I did not want to be the only person I knew in a rural area. So I moved here because I already knew people.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
And when I moved here, I started meeting all the ex-employees of my great-grandfather and grandfather. They actually brought me a portrait of my great-grandfather that they had swiped from the factory in Murfreesboro when it was closing. And that's really where we got the idea to call the distillery. It's called Short Mountain Distillery by almost everyone, but the real legal name for this distillery is the Golden Rule Distilling Company. And that was my great-grandfather's business motto. And he was able to build that huge company that was eventually bought by a conglomerate, all over the world. It's a franchise. But he started this concept that if you just follow the golden rule, you can bring all people together and come up with fair agreements. And he was one of the few people in our country who could negotiate with unions and different trade unions. And he was able to make agreements with people from all over the world because he very publicly followed the golden rule. And I think people appreciated that. And I try and follow in his footsteps.
That's an amazing story. I'd never heard that. And like I said, I've known you for, going on 10 years now.
Yeah,
and
I saved it for today.
So I like it. That's pretty good. So, so as we got into this, you got into the distilling business, you decided to go the legal route, thankfully.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff was alleged, by the way.
Maybe.
Yeah. But
we signed, I had to have all the moonshiners that worked with me sign a contract saying that they would never make illegal spirits again. That
right.
The TTB, I think, or the ABC wanted us to have on file.
Holy moly. That's crazy. I do remember the first time I came out here, I visited you. There was a couple of them here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
they're still
that.
around. They come around. Everyone's a lot older now.
Yeah.
But we're all, still friends, and they come by, and maybe if somebody requests them to be here, I can get them to come out.
Well, it's interesting because I think you were one of the first ones, in the state. I know that the Corsair was active in that legislation as well. Mm-hmm. The thing that I think also about you as being part of one of the first ones after the law change was also you took it to the next level. Like you were, if I recall, I believe you were one of the first distilleries to go ahead and integrate a restaurant. You started integrating more of this tourism, this making it a sense of place, which Jeff talks about a lot about with your bourbon and stuff. They want to have a sense of place.
Yeah.
They care about that. You kind of took that to another level here at Short Mountain because, again, you started having festivals. I mean, tell me about some of those festivals because, you're kicking ass. It was pretty cool.
Well, I felt like I was always kind of late to the party with the distilling business because when I started, I was the number 6 distillery. So I was one of the first ones, but I was also a little too soon because a lot of laws changed after I already opened my distillery. I'm not sure I would have opened a distillery in the middle of nowhere in a rural area. It is beautiful here, but it is the sort of the way that distilleries are allowed to operate in Tennessee is very much in support of foot traffic.
Yeah.
So all the benefits of being a distillery is about serving the people that walk through your door. You got to maximize your bottle sales and cocktails and whatever you want to sell to them. Even the Tennessee Whiskey Trail, which we'll get into later, I guess, is about that, people walking through your door. But if you look on a map, Short Mountain Distillery is in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So one of the things I quickly had to backpedal on was I thought I was going to be in the business of making liquor to sell somewhere else. And very quickly I realized I was in the business of bringing people to Short Mountain Distillery. So I do everything I can to bring people to Short Mountain Distillery. So we've had music festivals here. We had the Greenway Music Festival. We had a festival after Bonnaroo was canceled, and we had, 1,500 to 2,000 uninvited surprise guests. That was amazing. And the county really stepped up to that, because rather than everyone just fighting it, we quickly adapted and had an amazing festival here with no notice. I've had months to prepare for other festivals that were not half as good as the festival that we put together in 30 minutes. It's just how things are. We have holiday events here. We do, Easter and Halloween. Yeah. We'll do weddings here. There's been many funerals here. It goes on and on and on. Musical events, trivia nights, craft fairs, mule rides. This Saturday, we're going to have the Murfreesboro Bourbon Club come here for a special dinner just for their group. But during the day, there's going to be 60 people here playing disc golf on the property. Yeah. And then next week we'll have 200 people come for a disc golf tournament because we have 2 courses on the property. So really, it's all about bringing people to your distillery. It doesn't matter what brings them here to me, as long as, they come here, enjoy this beautiful farm. We're probably on one of the most beautiful properties in Cannon County, as far as I can tell. Yeah. And I'm not being biased, because I felt that even before I bought this property, I would just stare at it, and it's just beautiful. It looks like a national park. And, but it's all about bringing people to your distillery and hosting them. My long-term goals here really are, and I've talked about this with you because you've had experience with this, is to put accommodations on this property, or entice someone who's good at that to do that on this property. So if there's anybody listening who wants to put accommodations at Short Mountain Distillery, please, let's do a joint venture, or you can make me your employee.
Either or, right?
Either or. It's all about that. Yeah. And the distillery is a beautiful resource for Cannon County. It brings thousands of people to Cannon County, whereas before they wouldn't have come here. But it is all about bringing people here, and I'll do anything to bring people here.
Yeah, and I do. I think you've done an amazing job at that. Like I said, you kind of led the charge, if you will, and I think it kind of leads here to the next point of our conversation is the importance of the foot traffic. I mean, I know that, you look at Jack Daniel's, and I believe their numbers were 300,000 or 400,000 people a year come to Jack. And then you look at some of our other distilleries that are now open, whether it's, Old Forge, Old Smoky, Sugarlands, and we're talking a million to 4 million people. Yeah. And people just go, wait a minute, Jack Daniel's, the number one most recognized brand in the world.
Because it takes a village.
That's right.
Because it takes a village. And Gatlinburg is a village designed to entice people to come there.
That's right. Yeah.
And I want Cannon County to do the same thing. Yeah. And the problem is money, infrastructure, and someone taking a risk. And that old adage, whatever, build it and they will come. Yeah. It's true. Yeah. But you need, at a certain point, the infrastructure to make people comfortable is insurmountable to a small business owner. Right. Because you have some people, maybe 5% of our people that come here can stay in a tent, be comfortable doing that and happy. But the mass majority, probably people listening at home right now, they don't want to bring a tent to a distillery. They don't want to bring an RV to a distillery. They want to get to the distillery, have there be a cabin for them to stay in and sleep. And a shower.
convenience.
And watch TV when they want to zone out. And that's what I want to give them someday.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm in it for the long haul. I've been here, like I said, I've had this farm over 15, 16 years now. I don't even remember that huge tree behind you. I planted it. And so that's how long I've been here. And I think someday I'll be able to say like, yes, that was my vision. I've done a lot of things here, but I've not fulfilled my vision yet, I think.
Well, I think it's good you've got that long-term vision. I think it's interesting you've got this long-term vision for this individual distillery. And it's interesting because every distillery, as you know, you've probably been to most of them just like I have, every distillery across the states. They're all unique, whether it's an urban one or other rural ones. The thing is something I find really interesting is how you had this vision to bring it together. Your first step in bringing it together was bringing us together to form an association or a guild. So what I remember is you kind of had these pockets of people talking, et cetera, and you knew so-and-so or you'd hear a name.
Yeah.
And then I remember getting a call from, I think it was actually from Andrew over at Corsair, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he said, look, we're going to get together in Nashville. Billy Kaufman's getting us together. So you had this vision to bring us all together and create the Tennessee Distillers Guild.
And that was really out of frustration.
Really? Yeah.
Because when I started this distillery, I immediately realized that Tennessee has had a vacuum of power in this industry for 100 years. And that Jack Daniel's was such a presence here. They had their own power structure, but there was no trade power. There was no distillers union. And the distributors were walking all over us. Even the liquor stores, everyone was, and nobody really knew what the laws were. People were sort of winging it in the ABC. And so getting all the distilleries together to create the guild was really out of desperation to get some power so that it wasn't just me complaining all the time about how unfair things were. And I remember everyone tried to talk me out of it really because they were like, these guys aren't going to like each other. Dickel and Jack Daniels, they're not friends. They're at war right now over Tennessee whiskey classifications. And this guy doesn't like this guy. And I was like, let's just do it anyway, and I think all that friction actually helped bring us all together. Because if you remember, there was that point where Jack Daniels and Dickel were going at it, Diageo and Brown-Forman over the classification of Tennessee whiskey. And all these small distilleries started coming together under the guild. And I think that's when the larger distilleries saw that these small distilleries could give them credibility as far as what their desires are. It wasn't just Jack Daniels versus Diageo. It was Jack Daniels and these 10 small distilleries versus Diageo and one other guy. Yeah. Or there was maybe 2 distilleries, some more radical distilleries maybe. Yeah. I don't remember their name. Do they still exist?
Yeah, it's out west. I can't remember the name. Full Throttle.
Full Throttle. Was it Full Throttle?
Yeah, it was Full Throttle. So.
And are they in the guild now?
No, they never did. They never joined. There was a lot of talk about it. But the original, going back to that first, when you were trying to bring these people together and you're getting some pushback of we won't get along, et cetera. And don't get me wrong, we both know there were some meetings that it was very contentious between us, but we kept it in the room.
I don't remember that.
Oh, well, I do, but anyway, I forgot that.
You took it more to heart.
But the thing is definitely that first meeting. I recall there was 13 of us, the original 13. And like you said, Jack and George weren't there. Old Smokey wasn't there. There was 13 of us. Yeah. There's a picture actually that we'll get up that you've got. If you'll share, we'll get that up.
It's on Facebook for anyone to see, I think.
Okay, yeah. And so we got together and talked about it and brought the board together. I think you got a funny story how you were president, right?
Yeah, because I think Jeff Pennington what's his distillery? Pennington
Yeah,
Distilling.
Distilling. Yeah.
So he really took all the air out of it for me, because he was like, well, I thought it was clear I should be president. I'm the one who was organizing it. But I didn't really care, honestly. I just wanted it to exist. And Pennington says, well, I think Billy Kaufman should be president because he's got the biggest mustache.
Biggest and best.
The biggest. No, I don't think he said the best.
I think it's best.
But it doesn't matter. I was the only one with the mustache back then.
That's true.
And I saw a lot of facial hair come into play after I was president.
That was a requirement. Huh?
Yeah. People started growing their beards out. But so I became president. And we didn't have any money then.
No.
I think we didn't even know how we were going to proceed. But when Jack and George saw that we had legislative sway just by our sheer numbers, not by our clout, not because we had a lobbyist, I think they saw the value of a guild and started putting in more money and really, to their credence they helped make
I think so.
the guild a real thing.
Talked with them. You got it started, and you, I think, also led the search for Jeff led the search for the lobbyists as well.
Yeah,
executive director.
I'm going to give credit to Mike Williams. Mm-hmm. He's not in the guild either, is he?
No.
But he has a distillery. He was a lobbyist, or is a lobbyist, and he started Collier McKeel. They don't exist anymore, but that was a small distillery back in the day. One of the first brands, I think. And he was a lobbyist, and he basically told me what steps I needed to do. And he presented lobbyists to me who could be the executive director of the guild. And that's how I met Jill Talbert, who has been she's really like the blood of, the brain maybe of the guild or something. Yeah. She's a major organ of the guild. And I met her back then, and I think she sort of did it almost pro bono for a while,
At the beginning, she did. Yeah, I think it was the first year or two. It was a pretty low price for her to do the ED, but we didn't really have any legislative efforts at that time. We supported the definition, and then we took about a year and did some observations and stuff. But yeah, and that's the big purpose of this conversation, is that with you being one of the first distilleries, I know you said number 6, but that's still one of the first when you look at there's over 50 now in the state.
Yeah. Maybe I'm number 7. I don't know. 6 or 7.
Yeah, but still, you're talking again over 50 now. So that's pretty strong to be up there. Having been that, and then having been the first person to bring us together to have a voice, what we're going to do is our next episode, we're going to start talking about, the next steps after that. Like you had this beginning time, and then it started to grow, and we got legislatively active. So I'm really excited. We're going to have some other people on the next episode as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. So going back to the idea, of bringing the guild together and speaking with that, that one voice. What was one of your, did you ever think it was going to fail, or did you just know in your gut and your heart that, hey, this is what we need for us to grow as an industry?
I wish I was more selfless about it. Like that, I think that, we could paint it that I had selfless reasons, but I really wanted stuff, to exist. Gotcha. I wanted there to be a Tennessee whiskey trail that we were in control of. I wanted to have a lobbyist so we could push back against the other lobbyists who were pushing against us. I wanted stuff, and I had no idea it would grow so much so quickly. And it just took on a life of its own. And honestly, I feel like I was the first president, but then I quickly became like a board member, then a mascot. I stepped back, in many.
You stepped back.
I stepped back, and because at a certain point, I was like, this thing has a life of its own. I'm not really interested. It's doing all the stuff I want to see happen. I don't want to be the president of this thing. And I don't need to be. So I just kind of let it do its thing. And maybe someday I'll step back in and remind everyone why we did it.
Yeah.
But I'm happy now. You know, I'd love to see the whiskey trail rival the bourbon trail.
Yeah.
But the Tennessee whiskey trail. But and we will. But it's a ways off. You know?
Yeah, and it's interesting because you always have these different bars that you're going to measure success by, whether it's in your business or your personal life or whatever. And I know when we started.
Hey, this is 7 years old now. That's really, I mean, seriously. So that's what we're like. That's what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for our. I don't want to say the bad word, but we've been waiting for. I don't want to make this an R-rated show. We've been waiting for our stuff to age, so that we had something to rival these older distilleries. And I had a black beard when we started. And so we're getting older, and you did too, and we're getting older, and that's really, it's all about the taste. We're selling taste, and it took a long time for us to age, but this is a 7-year-old bottle I've got here on the table, and I didn't even, I wasn't showing this off. This has been an accident. So it's like that. This is what's happening, and that's what will get us more credibility.
Yes, I agree. I think the more and the longer that we exist, you're going to have that credibility of when it comes to putting the brown on the shelf, so to speak.
Yeah, we're not sourcing and blending everything. Some of us are, but less and less.
Yeah. It gets into, like what I was saying is, you have these different bars of success, and there's some things that we're just, we're kicking the bourbon trail's ass. I mean, they have 1.3 million, 1.4 million people visit, I think was their number, 1.7 million maybe. We're 6.5, 7 million people that visit the trail.
Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest about that. That's Gatlinburg.
But it doesn't matter. It's the trail.
Okay. Well, that's how you spin it. That's how you spin it. But when Shore Mountain Distillery gets 1 million people a year, then I'll be happy.
And that's what I was getting at, is that you have different bars for each and every one of us. But the idea is you've got to grow the whole thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And so the more it's grown.
Like a rising tide raises all ships. I'm going to be the last ship to go up way out here in Cannon County. Let me be honest.
It would be tough. I think I don't think that's I think that's a pretty accurate, but
but time will tell.
That's right.
And everyone's lucky that Billy Kaufman is a patient man.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it. 'Cause it's not easy. Mike Williams told me, hey, if you want to make a small fortune in the distilling business, start with a large fortune. Yeah. And that's the only way, you have to sit around for a decade and wait for nature.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot you can do before that unless you're in the right place. Gatlinburg was built many, many years before all these distilleries that popped up there. I might have opened up in Gatlinburg if I knew that was going to be the business model.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And that's okay, because I get to live out here and I'm on a different timeline.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy business. I don't know anything else like it. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm in the same business as some of these other distilleries, because everyone does it so different. Yeah. We're all sort of selling liquor, but we're all in different businesses.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the credit of bringing us together. We still represent, 99% of all distilleries in the state are part of our guild.
Yeah.
From a volume perspective. But then, you bring these different people together, and we're accomplishing a lot of stuff. I mean, since 2014, March of 14 is when we had that meeting.
Yeah.
You're looking at almost 10 years. I mean, we've accomplished a lot.
Sure.
And that's a credit to everybody, whether it's somebody patient in Cannon County or, somebody in Memphis that wanted to do their own thing. And we said, well, now wait a minute, if what's good for one's good for all. And they were okay,
When the people of Tennessee and the people of the United States, people of the world start looking at the Tennessee whiskey trail and Tennessee whiskey the same way they gaze at bourbon, like that they associate with Kentucky. I make bourbon, but everyone thinks it's only made in Kentucky.
Yeah.
90% of the people that come here. Yeah. When that propaganda is countered, then we will have won.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that'll take a long time. I mean, I say long, it'll take a while.
It takes a long time. Like we've made the Tennessee Whiskey Trail. We made the Guild. Yeah. We have festivals. But when we change culture, we've won. Yeah. We haven't done that yet.
Right.
We haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
But this podcast,
yeah,
everything we do is about doing that. All our marketing, every time someone visits here, I give them a tour. We're pushing the needle a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I agree completely. And it's definitely an industry that, again, you see a lot of type A personalities. You see people that are investing their life savings.
Yeah.
And so of course they're going to be passionate about whether it's Cannon County or Memphis or, bootleggers up in Newport,
Sure.
And for us to have been able to bring that together, I think is huge. And for you to have that, have had that vision, whether it was selfless or not, it doesn't matter because
it
doesn't matter at all because it still brought it together.
Yeah. I didn't do it. I couldn't do it alone. And I wanted everyone else to join me in the crusade. Yeah. But, it's a longer crusade than I thought. I thought it would be a 3-day operation. And then here we are, 10 years later.
Yeah, no kidding. That's true. Now I do have a story to tell on you, and I'm going to admit I'm the one that has grown the story to the level that it is. Our first meeting, we had that Nashville City Club.
He says story, but he means a lie.
No, this is a non-fiction story is what this is. So we all go in there. I want to tell you, we'll give you my perspective from the new guy walking in. Walk in, there's Billy, and I'm like, man, Billy's got his own distillery. He's, I'd actually talked to you on the phone. I think you were selling your first still, smaller one. Anyway, I had talked to you about that, blah, 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 and go in there, and we're in this fancy place in Nashville, and we start throwing money in the table for the Coca-Colas and Sprites on the table.
Right.
And I mean, I think you walked away with like $1,200 that day.
That is not true.
I mean, that
is the lie. That is the lie.
I recall $1,200.
That is a lie.
I think everybody in there says the same thing.
Who put in more than $5?
I don't even know if I put 5 in.
Yeah, you put in the most amount of money. It was maybe 20.
Maybe 20.
Okay. So what happened was there was some sort of I can't remember where we were, some sort of public room you could rent at some club.
Nashville City Club, yeah.
Nashville City Club.
Yeah.
And you could rent this room there if you were a member. I had a friend who told me that he would let me use that room. But I think it was I can't remember how much money it was. I'm going to make up a number, like $50, $100. I don't remember to use that room. And then I brought some drinks and donuts.
Yeah.
And I wanted everyone it was not about getting reimbursed. It was about everyone realizing that this was not going to be the Billy Kaufman show. I wasn't putting on, I wasn't a host. I wanted everyone to be equal and have equal contribution so that we would all work together and share the burden. I didn't want to pay for this room to host all these guys to talk about this idea I had. I wanted everyone to realize that it was something for all of us to benefit from.
Right.
That was the only reason. I don't think I made any money. I don't remember walking out of there feeling like I had pulled the wool over anyone's eyes. No, that had never happened. That never happened. I wish it happened. I'll tell you one thing I did. I spent my own money and made Tennessee Distillers Guild patches.
You were giving me hell about that. At my last year's president, you're like, we've never gotten anything from you.
Yeah.
Talking about from me, I gave us patches, and I was like, wow, that's pretty deep,
And I paid for those and I never got reimbursed. Maybe, and I still have some, and I'm going to just put it out there.
Mine.
These things are worth, they're worth $1,000 a piece now. So
Turn that receipt in.
I still got a whole box of them.
Turn the receipt into charity. I think that'd be great. So, no, that was good times, man. And you know, the whole thing, the purpose, like I said, of today is getting together and chit-chatting and just kind of reliving a little bit how you got it going.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I always tell people, they're like, oh, you know, tell us about, you know, what you do, what you've done. And I always say that, like, my biggest accomplishment was something that I started and just grew way beyond me quickly. And that's the Tennessee Distillers Guild. I just had a wild hair to start it. Anyone would have started it after me, but I was just the guy who did it first. Yeah. And it just took off real quick. It was the right thing to do at the right time. Everyone got behind it, and it took off quickly. The state got behind it and started putting resources into it. We got the big distilleries behind it, all the smaller, medium-sized distilleries, trade. It just was the right thing to do. Yeah. And I think, you know, I didn't do that much, but I did start it. And I do tell people it's, if I die tomorrow, you know, at least I made a mark and started the Tennessee Distillers Guild. I can go down in some books that, you know, that at least I did that.
No,
at least
100%.
I did that. And it's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
It's a good thing for the economy. It brings a lot of joy to people. I love it when, you know, people realize they're on the Tennessee whiskey trail, and all of a sudden I see commerce and they start planning, you know, the next month of their life to, like, spend money in Tennessee. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, you know, it's just a construct that we came up with, and here it is working, and just thousands of people, millions are involved with it, and it's a great thing. It's commerce is a great thing. It's what brings us together, and especially, like, buying things local, utilizing agriculture, agrotourism. It's just great for everything. Yeah, it's definitely opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people. And I can tell you, having come in shortly thereafter, I think we were number 12, maybe something like that, 12, 13. So we came in considerably after you, obviously. But, I sort of, it's all a blur. I remember you from the beginning. Yeah. But no, I remember I appreciated it, and a lot of people since then appreciated it, seeing some of, you know, being at some of these meetings and seeing the new people come in, you know, and listening to them. It's like, wow, I feel like it's deja vu. So, you know, I really appreciate your time and letting us. Hey, it's over already. I know, 40 minutes in. I haven't even done my shtick yet. Yeah, he's got a little dance to do. I'm going to do a dance. But the next episode, just let everybody out there know we're going to continue down a little bit farther down the path of where the guild is now, so to speak. A little bit of update from, we'll have Charity Toombs, Stan Webster from Postmodern on here, Kim Mitchell. Jeff will be back with me, having a good old time, and we'll have a good time chatting about it. So look forward to talking to you again soon, Billy. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much, and thanks for what you did in your vision. I'll see you at Grains and Grits. I better see you before then. I mean, that's November. Oh, whoops. Oh, no, I'll see you at Roaring Pour. No, I won't. I'm not going to go to that. Oh, we didn't say that. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I have to. He's going to Roaring Pour. We're going to see this will be my first year at Roaring Pour. All right. Man, I appreciate your time. Thanks, Billy. All right, see ya. Appreciate everybody. Thanks.